Gustave Flaubert, Madame Bovary. Delve into the captivating world of Madame Bovary, penned by Gustave Flaubert, as we follow the life of Emma Bovary, a young woman in search of passion, romance, and excitement. This poignant tale examines her dissatisfactions with her mundane life and her desire for adventure, as well as her relationships with her husband, Charles Bovary, and their acquaintances in rural France. As you read this summary, witness Emma's ongoing struggle to bridge the gap between her romantic fantasies and the harsh realities of her life, leading her to embark on a series of emotional and financial entanglements.
Madame Bovary's husband. Charles Bovary struggles with marriage and mediocrity in 19th-century France. After finally passing his exams and becoming a doctor, Charles marries the wealthy but unattractive Héloïse de Buch, but their marriage soon turns sour as Héloïse becomes increasingly jealous and controlling. Charles begins to feel trapped and suffocated, and their relationship reaches a breaking point when Héloïse starts spying on and opening his mail. As the protagonist of Gustave Flaubert's classic novel, Charles Bovary embodies the struggle of finding meaning and fulfillment in a society that values conformity and material wealth above all else. The tragic consequences of infatuation. When Charles meets Emma Rouault, Monsieur Rouault's daughter, he becomes infatuated with her. Despite his wife's suspicions, he continues to visit Emma frequently. When Charles and his family realize that his wife's fortune isn't as substantial as they believed, tensions escalate. Tragically, Héloïse dies, and Charles is left a bachelor again. The story showcases the dangers of succumbing to infatuation and the devastating consequences that can arise as a result. Madame Bovary's wedding. Monsieur Rouault helps Charles to propose to Emma. The wedding feast lasts 3 days, but Emma's relationship with her mother-in-law gets off to a rocky start. Emma's disappointment. Charles and Emma's marriage starts with enthusiasm, but it soon becomes apparent that Emma's romantic dreams are not fulfilled with Charles. Emma's childhood in a convent shaped her view of love and passion, and she longed for a Prince Charming. However, Charles falls short of fulfilling her expectations and their relationship fades. Emma realizes that her fantasies cannot be fulfilled, and the more time she spends with Charles, the more distant her dreams become. Emma's longing fulfilled. Emma's dull and uneventful life takes a new turn when Marquis d'Andervilliers extends an invite to a fascinating ball at his mansion. Emma, in dire need of adventure and romance, spends the night reveling in the dancing, people, and food, forgetting her husband Charles in the process. Charles, in contrast, is content to return to their mundane life. Emma's restlessness. Emma yearns for excitement and despises her mediocre husband in the narrow-minded milieu she finds herself in. Her despair takes a toll on her, leading to her falling ill. A change of location to Yonville-l'Abbaye gives her hope as she awaits the birth of her child. A potential love triangle. Emma and Charles move to Yonville-l'Abbaye, where they meet Monsieur James and Léon Dupuis. Emma and Léon are captivated by one another, sharing a love for the new and exciting. However, life in Yonville-l'Abbaye is dull, and Charles struggles to make a living. Emma becomes disinterested in their new baby and turns her over to a nursemaid. During a chance encounter with Léon, rumors begin to spread, and Emma and Léon's feelings for each other grow. Unrequited love in Madame Bovary. Emma and Léon spend time together, but their fear of rejection makes it impossible to reveal their feelings. Emma receives an offer from a crafty shopkeeper, who promises to provide her with any luxury item she desires on credit. Léon leaves for Paris, heartbroken by Emma's indifference towards him. Emma's downward spiral. Emma attempts to combat her sadness through materialism and self-improvement after Léon leaves. Despite her efforts, nothing works. Her husband, Charles, calls her to help a farmer that Rodolphe Boulanger, a notorious womanizer, has asked him to attend to. Rodolphe is taken by Emma's looks and decides to seduce her. He carefully executes his plan by first befriending her at an agricultural fair. He then leads her into a room and hints at his feelings but does not push her. Rodolphe's absence kindles Emma's passion, and when he returns, he claims to be an unrequited lover, saying that fate has brought them together. Forbidden love. Emma, though initially reluctant, gets the chance to ride horseback alone with Rodolphe, whom she secretly desires, thanks to her naive husband's encouragement. On this trip, she submits to Rodolphe's charms and begins a passionate affair with him. Emma is transformed by the experience of finally having a lover, and they begin meeting regularly, with Emma even visiting Rodolphe at his home in the early mornings. The Betrayal of Emma. Emma becomes infatuated with Rodolphe to the point of obsession. She indulges in the latest fashion and jewelry from Les Roses to please him and pushes him to elope. Despite her growing emotions, Rodolphe views her as just another conquest. He humiliates her for his pleasure, but agrees to run away with her and Berthe. Emma prepares for their escape, buying various travel essentials from Les Roses, but at their last meeting, Rodolphe deceives her, leaving Emma heartbroken. He sends a fabricated letter, feigning sadness, claiming his love for her, but ends the affair. Emma's despair and recovery. Emma's discovery of her husband's financial problems, unfulfilled desires, and subsequent illness push her to consider suicide. Charles is left worried and desperate to make her feel better. With the help of her religious beliefs and charitable works, Emma slowly recovers. Homaise's suggestion to take Emma to the opera helps to lift her spirits. A chance encounter. During a performance, Emma eagerly reconnects with an old flame, Lyon, while Charles remains unenthusiastic. Lyon desires to seduce Emma, and they discuss the opera as Charles suggests Emma stay another day to see the last act. A secretive carriage ride. After gathering his courage, Lyon confesses his love to Emma and they set off on a secretive tour around the city. With the curtains drawn, they ignore the driver's attempts to stop and finally allow him to stop at a backstreet at 6 p.m., where Emma disembarks and heads back home. Emma's descent into deceit. Emma becomes entangled in debt and deceit as she hides her affair with Lyon and attempts to cover her tracks by exploiting Charles's inheritance and trust. Emma, returning to Yonville, is informed of her father-in-law's death and Charles's financial troubles. Les Roses, realizing Emma's vulnerability, lures her into debt and attempts to take advantage of her inheritance. Alarmed, Emma attempts to evade suspicion by obtaining power of attorney. Taking advantage of Charles's naivety in love for her, Emma tricks him into allowing her to take piano lessons from a teacher in Rouen, where she spends 3 days with Lyon. Emma's lies start leading her to a path of no return as she becomes more and more entangled in her web of deceit.
In this thought-provoking exploration of desire and disillusionment, Madame Bovary serves as a cautionary tale of the perils of pursuing unrealistic romantic ideals. Emma's determination to escape her monotonous life leads her down a dangerous path, filled with debts and sordid liaisons. As she grows increasingly distant from her husband and community, her actions not only damage her own happiness but also that of those around her. Through Emma's tragic story, Flaubert deftly criticizes societal hypocrisy and the bourgeois lifestyle, inviting readers to reflect upon their own dreams and the consequences of chasing illusions instead of finding contentment in reality.